What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Transparency. I got a special guest. What's up, Ella? How are you?
Hi, how's everyone doing? Hi, LL. Hi,
Hi.
chat. Hi, Mott. How's
Hi.
everybody?
Hi. Here,
Hi.
we'll give you a
Oh,
bell.
cowbell. Holy crap.
Look
Here we
out.
go. Um, been
What's
knee deep
good?
in Delphi, haven't you? You just got back from Indiana? Hi.
Yeah, Fort Wayne. Yeah, not Delphi, but yeah, Fort Wayne.
Oh, it'll be Delphi soon enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Um, what time is it there? Well, we won't
In
talk shit.
Cali? In Cali? It's
I
just three
just,
hours
I just
behind you.
start with that. I just had to start with that, girl. You know what I'm saying. We won't talk shit. Yeah, so welcome everybody. What's up? Truth and Transparency coverage of the Delphi case with special guest bedtime stories with Bella Lugosi. What is up, everybody? It's what is today? Thursday, 8 p.m. my time.
Who knows? It
I
is.
pushed this back a couple. I pushed this back a couple times because I wanted to have Bella on with me. Yep, just got back from Fort Wayne. It was cool. It was cool. The jury's all set. I think there's 17.
Thank God. I think they should have gone with 20. But I
What
have
do
a
you?
question about
Yeah.
because you were there and everything, and for those that weren't there, I mean, there's people from other countries, other states, right? Um, what's your impression of the day you were there, of the jurors that you saw in the question, the voir dire that was going on?
Yeah, I think that across the board, um, one juror said that she didn't think that she was qualified to be a juror,
Nice.
and to hear that, it's interesting because we've all been saying this for a minute, like, you never know who you're going to get on your jury, And she's like, I just don't think I'm qualified. And then a great follow up is like, why? Why don't you think
Perfect
that you're
question.
qualified? And it was great because then she's like, because I can't remember anything. Like I can't remember.
Love
Just
it.
like, damn, yeah, that makes sense, right?
Well,
So,
I'm taking notes so that I can do that when I go to jury duty. That's a good one.
or just say you're going to be a psychic. I mean, that was
a nice one too.
that was
That was a good
great.
one.
When that guy said it, I was like,
I'm just surprised
damn.
that Gull didn't say, we need you up on here. I don't care any preemptive strikes. We need you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Okay.
bypass you.
I'm just going to bypass both the state and the defense. I'm just going to put you on because you are a psychic. What do you see? What aura is in this room? So, what did you think about? Okay, so
As far as those questions, though, to answer that,
thank
like
you.
nobody understands the burden. Like people still aren't getting that. Like,
Explain what that is because some people don't even understand what a burden is, LO.
I know. Okay. Like the state has to prove the elements of the crime, and that homeboy, whoever it is that you have in that, defendant's position, you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt before the defendant ever and the defense takes over this part of like their case, like when the state or the Commonwealth is resting its case in chief, you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt to that point that that man is guilty.
Are you trying to say that the onus is on the state?
Yeah, to prove it all, to prove all the elements of whatever it is. What's the crime? What are we talking about here? Well, here we're
What are
talking about
you
murder.
what are you being charged with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to meet all of the qualifications that they're bringing out against you, right?
Yeah, and I think then you have to ask yourself, well, do you know what those elements are? And it was great to see, Rosie and the defense showing them like, here, this is the lowest. Like, if your reasonable suspicion, then your probable cause, then so it's going up this chain until you get all the way to the top, which is beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay, beyond a
And what
reasonable
is that?
doubt.
And explain and see and we'll hear this, you guys. If you've watched trials, you've seen this also, right? What does that mean? And they'll always explain it. Can you explain it to us, Lana? What does that mean?
Well, I think it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. That's like the best way to say it, because you mean, but okay, what does it mean by definition, or what is it?
What do you normally hear an attorney who's explaining it to the juror in usually closing, they'll say this, right? What does that mean? Beyond a reasonable doubt. Any
It's
reasonable
not. It's a reasonable doubt. So like if you have a doubt to this person committing this crime that is reasonable, it's not beyond any doubt, okay?
Mhm.
But like this reasonable doubt, it's not. You can't say, "Oh, they probably did it, so I'm gonna." It's guilty. That's not a reasonable doubt. They probably did it is not reasonable doubt. Like
Right.
if you say to yourself, they probably did it, you have to vote not guilty. Like you have to vote not guilty.
You're right.
Like
I agree with
that's
that.
and so for me, and how I was able to gauge this is when they were asking them the questions of, do you think that Richard Allen has to take the stand? Or when Rosie was like,
Nice.
as I'm his defense attorney, what if I just sat there? What if I just sat there in that chair and my whole team here, and we just sat there and we didn't do anything? We didn't do anything. What do you think? And okay, for me, my answer to that would be like, well, if you didn't have to do anything, that means that they didn't reach their burden. So I would be saying, did they do a directed verdict at the end? Like, did you say, hey, Your Honor, we move for a directed verdict right now? Because we don't believe that the state.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, good. Yes. What's a directed verdict?
That means you're asking the judge right there, based on what the state has provided, to rule in the fact that, yeah, they didn't meet these elements. And so therefore,
the burden, they didn't reach the burden, right? What you said earlier.
By law, yeah. By definition. And so therefore, like, we up out of here. And so
rule now. Directed verdict. Rule now.
Now let's say that, let's say that when you go to ask for that, the judge is like, no, I do believe that they've met their burden to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. So you're going to have to put something on to slice away at this mounting evidence, that whether it's fabricated, because it could look like that they've proven that burden, but the evidence is faulty. Okay.
Yes.
And so then the defense has to come and chop away at all this. When someone's lying, when you're going with bullshit, junk science, or
it's a lot of speculation, right, Elo?
Well, no, it's circumstances. You can, if a case is heavy circumstantially, okay.
Mm-hmm. We see that a lot, though. Circumstantial.
And it's going to be unless you have literally yourself on camera committing this crime.
Exactly.
Okay. Exactly. There's going to be, that's life. Okay. But when your circumstances all pretty much do a nice little line here, but if your circumstances are just fucking wild, or you're missing like some big gap. Yeah. But, so for me, I want to see, and maybe it'd be a blessing in disguise that the defense team can't talk about third-party culpability.
Oh my gosh, were we just talking about that earlier? But can we get to that in a minute? Because that is a hot button thing that I've been discussing for a bit now. And I think there's some pros and cons to that. Can we get to that in a minute? Can we table that for a second?
Yeah, we could table it.
Okay, yeah, let's table that and get back to it. Okay, so my thing that I want to ask you, and probably everyone wants to know. So when you say, I'm curious. So they said, one of the questions they ask, and this happens a lot, during voir dire, which is when you're asking questions, usually of the juror, but sometimes it happens with expert witnesses. When you say, would you guys have a problem if Richard Allen doesn't take the stand? What were the answers?
Mm-hmm. A lot of people were like, yeah, we would, because if we didn't do it, if we didn't, and then the follow up to that though was, wait, but what if the judge instructs you? It's the instructions that you cannot look, if he does not take the stand, you cannot take a negative position that because he didn't take the stand. Yeah, you can't do a negative inference of guilt. Yeah. Right. You can't have a negative
inference. You were right.
Yeah. Yes. But I was trying to, sometimes when you say words like that, then people are like, what's inference? Like,
what's inference?
So I'm just, so I was just trying to break it.
Look at that. You can't you can't look at that negatively. You can't say, because we're all
You can't hold it
entitled,
against him. You can't
yeah,
hold it against him. That's the words. Okay.
because we're all entitled to what? Fifth
Legally,
Amendment?
yeah, legally. And here's the rules. You guys cannot go back to that deliberating room, and anybody in that deliberating room can't say, well, I think he's guilty because he didn't testify. If you say that
Exactly.
back in the jury deliberating room, the other jurors should be saying, no, 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 Tim. Tim, right here. Remember, this is part of it. You can't say that. Like,
That's
that
right.
can't be part of our deliberate. We can't use that as like why we're all raising our hands for him to be guilty. Okay.
Amen to that, sister.
That's what's supposed to happen back in the deliberating room. Okay. But what I got to see out in like this open space where people are just like bearing it all, being so blunt honest, because let me tell you something, nobody wants to go and be on that jury and be sequestered away from their families for over a month. Okay. They
I
were
swear.
downplaying how long it was going to be. Whatever.
And man, they're getting paid more than we all are in every other state, but still, right?
Yeah, I think that
Sheesh, you guys. It's a duty. Look, they always tell us that, right, Lana? It's a duty.
yeah, yes, but I think that I don't think that you should have to beg to like. I think that they should allow you to bring documentation just to like get you even out of the fact of like to even be sitting in that like chair, you know,
Okay.
before like you even get questioned. You should say like, but I'm sorry, but I just don't think single moms or moms that are just like the stay-at-home moms. I'm sorry, but if they tell you that they cannot provide that
Daycare?
that is a burden that they
Yeah.
cannot, like they watch their kid.
A hardship? Yeah.
I think that that's just across the board. Come on, man. Like, because let me break it down to you.
Do it.
What if you're in I don't know, a relationship that you're 50-50 with your kid, and the next thing you know, you get slapped because I'm taking custody now of that kid because you just went off of jury duty and left my kid with some skanky people. I think that the moms to possibly hear about 2 and 3 year olds, their toddler, like they need to be there, even if they have husbands, like they're working, like they're. And then one woman was like, do you know how expensive childcare is? And I was like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, like who doesn't, you know? So I just think when you hear that, like, but to hear that Richard Allen had to testify, or well, I'd want to get up there and scream it from the rooftops and say that I'm not guilty.
Says that.
And
listen,
some people were like, well, the prosecutor can twist your words though, you know?
Oh, they like said that back? Like people said that, like there was like a conversation back and forth?
Yeah. Yes. There were some people that, but they were all trying to test this part out to say, well, it's not on Richard Allen to testify. Okay. Richard Allen I can't go to that yet. Like if the evidence is all in front of me, the only reason that I would need Richard Allen to testify, the only reason, and this is how I would say it, is if the state has met their burden, and it right now, until the defense tries to put on a defense right now, and I'm like, okay, with all this overwhelming evidence that I think is real, right? I'm like, ooh, look at that. And oh, look at that. And ooh. All right. This little narrative that they're about to tell us. And I'm like, oh man, it could have been anybody else. Like he said he was there. He said he was on the bridge. You know, all this is going to make it sound, oh, and then look at that bullet. Like, I just think it's like so great because I think like, oh God, that could be wrong. You know,
that bullet's amazing.
Just so, ooh, like who else? There's only 3,000 people in here. Like, oh man, that thing kind of does look like him, you know? And then, so whatever, we get to this point. That's why I think that the only way that Richard Allen takes the stand, or even that the defense has to put on a defense, is if this evidence would be enough to even get you to the point that you could even say that it's beyond a reasonable doubt with what they put on. For example, the Karen Reed case, I still believe that if Karen Reed's defense team didn't put on any defense, I still think that jury comes either back hung, or she could have still won if they had a different foreman.
You think Mr. A.J. Allen Jackson should have stood up and said directive verdict? That's what you did. Okay.
They did do that, but she said no.
But listen, your favorite thing, I feel like, is directive verdict.
Yeah, it's great. It's great too.
I know you love it. You know why? I know. Well, I won't say, but I know why it's your favorite. But okay, so you're saying that some of the jury members had, I think that's actually an exceptional voir dire question. I actually really like that voir dire question. Do you have a problem with my client, if you're a defense counsel, with my client not taking the stand? I love that question.
Yeah. Like you want to gauge where people's heads were with it. And it's just like, you want to hear how they're trying to talk about it. Like, do you think that he has to? And then they ask, well, why wouldn't
Love
he?
that.
Yeah, like, why wouldn't he?
Listen, you guys, so we have constitutional rights going on in there. We have our civic duties going on in there. And we have some honesty, right? Courts are amazing for that, aren't they? So what was your takeaway? Because we got to cut to the chase a little bit, right? We got stuff to do. You got another couple bombs to drop here.
Oh, today?
Well, I just have to be quiet because you know what I've been doing for the last few days, and I'm just scared I'm going to say some stuff before anyone gets any chance to.
Well, let's just be real here for a second. When I said I wanted to deep dive this case before the Idaho 4 murders happened, it was about 2 years ago, going into, just outside of when Richard Allen was arrested.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Before,
and
it's the first case we did on my channel was Delphi.
Yeah, like
way before Koberger.
And
so look at you. Look at that. Cute.
And so what we're going to talk here about is me and Bella are going to play like, okay, opening statements are tomorrow. And we're breaking it down like, if you're the state of Indiana, how is your opening going to go? And if you're the defense, how's your opening going to go? But first, I want to say this, which is I had a huge problem with when I said, okay, I'll look into this case. Like, I'll deep dive.
What did you have a huge problem? I don't. Did you share this with me?
Yeah, I told you what I had a huge problem with, and I told you, and I'm like, it's gonna not be. It's out there in my first 2 videos that I did, and I'm telling you, it's not gonna be like people are gonna be like,
oh my god, I know where you're going. Oh my god, okay, go. Yeah, gotcha.
People are gonna be like, F, and I was like, hey, like I remember just straight up telling you, I was like, what's up with this timeline? I'm like, there's something so wrong about them being supposedly dropped off at this time. I was like, I don't buy that at all. I was like, there is no evidence that says that they were dropped off at this time. Because I was like, this window of an opportunity for this to have happened is so small that it should have narrowed the pool of the suspects to like this big. Like, not like this big. It's like this big. And I was like, I'm gonna go say it. I was like, I don't buy what Kelsey German's laying down.
You gotta link those. Like, you gotta link those.
I'll link those.
So Lana is what she's talking about here is one of the first videos she did independently about Delphi. She had a problem with the timeline, and if people don't know, can you explain, please, that there is a what now? Who said they dropped the children off, the kids off? Abby.
It was said that like this whole story around it. So first of all, I always put myself in like, this was a day off of school. This is stuff that you would have had planned with your friends when you know that you have a day off of school and you're at that age and you would need a ride to go do something. You're setting all of that stuff up way in advance if you want to go do stuff. Okay. Like, you're telling your parents what you want to do on your day off of school. And you'd have arrangements for that. And when you're ever like on your days off of school, when you're at that age, your day doesn't start at 2:00 in the afternoon. Your day doesn't start at 1:30. Okay. Your day starts a hell of a lot earlier than that. And you're scheduling all your rides and so that you can go and do whatever it is that you're doing, especially if this was something that was a planned day off from school, which it was. They had extra days from snow days or whatever.
Yes. It was a beautiful day in February in Delphi that year, 2017.
And so this whole thing of that Kelsey just decided to, at first, Becky was like, well, no one can give you a ride or whatever. And then all of a sudden Kelsey's giving them a ride and the time is at this time. And then on the way, or her sister, or I'm sorry, Liberty says, oh, but dad will pick us up. But yet she makes the call to her dad, not before they left, allegedly, but it was while they were in the vehicle to go to the bridge. And I'm like, so then she really didn't have a ride if she's asking her dad after the fact. You know what I'm saying? If you're already on your way to go somewhere and you're calling at that point to say, hey, can you come pick us up? You didn't pin down a ride.
And you did say in the beginning. That's true. I mean, the beginning when we were talking about Delphi. Yes, that's true. You did say that. You caught on to that.
Yeah,
Like
I was like,
Merch
that's just
says on screen is, we all know Lana does timelines really well.
yes. So I was just like, that doesn't make any sense. But I also said, like, let's just take the timeline and take away with what people are saying they said they did when they're saying these numbers. Let's just put all of these numbers, meaning like these times, on a board. Okay. And just look at all these times. And then let's just talk about what do we know truly was going on that day. They didn't have school, but wasn't there something going on at the high school that day?
Oh, there was something going on. Well, it was people were having a basketball game at the high school. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
It
And
was.
then also, Kelsey said that she had to work, right? So there's got to be a time stamp, and there's got to be like her punching into Burger King. Okay.
You guys,
During
and
this,
Kelsey is a sister. So if people don't know this case like that, Kelsey is Libby's sister who at this point, what everyone's saying is she dropped them off at the bridge that day.
yes.
I always go back to explain it to me like I'm 5. That's what I do. So that's
I look at it as people know what case we're talking about. We're going to come in deep dive, but I get it.
Go.
So, it was like, okay, so she's going to work at Burger King, so we should have some Burger King employees to corroborate that her time card, all this crap, right? Then it comes to find out that when they were actually calling her, saying that the girls were missing, meaning when I say they're calling her, Kelsey is being called here. It was, I still don't know, was she at work or was she not at work yet?
We're gonna
How
find out.
how all the way this down the road? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, with everybody that's deep dive this case, all these sleuths, whatever, how has nobody turned up Kelsey German's Burger King timestamps? Meaning from her clock in, clock out.
What do you mean? You think that the sleuths are going to get a hold of Burger King timestamp?
Or somebody that worked with her at Burger King?
I see what you're saying. So like something to corroborate that she was at Burger King.
Okay, like why hasn't Greg Hughes put that out, or Gray or whatever? Gray
Okay,
Hughes put
I
that
don't
out.
know. Let's move on.
I'm saying, if I'm going to back your story, I'm going to need some damn proof.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just me. Hey, give me the receipts and we got all day.
But you also know that there's a stigma. Listen, it's not victim blaming, but there's a stigma when you start questioning people who have been victimized. And sometimes the victims, the surviving victims, don't even know that they are, that there's, it's not that you're faulting them, but you're looking
We're talking about a timeline.
question.
Yeah, we're not talking about, everybody wants to say that you're attacking human beings. You guys, we're attacking a timeline.
Exactly.
We're talking about a timeline, meaning even just for the girls, so we get the right person.
Beautifully said. So that's what it is. And people need, well, those pearl clutchers.
People mess up all the time.
Yes, we do. We're infallible.
Like, it's just people mess up all the time, and then then it can become a game of like telephone, and it's like, I don't know why we're playing this game of telephone when we can just be using
facts,
our phone records. We can be using just hardcore proof. And guess what all those jurors were saying? They want hardcore proof. They want the hardcore facts. And the hardcore facts are going to come in terms of like, well, for me, let's say that it comes back that Kelsey, here, let's throw this out there.
Throw it out.
Let's just throw this out there. Everybody has cell phones nowadays. Okay. And we are tracked literally, like if your cell phone somewhere, then everyone just assumes like that's where you are.
Sure.
Right? That's going to be no different in this case. So for me, I would expect to see, because Richard Allen says that he went to the bridge, right?
Absolutely. Yes. He talked to the police right away.
Yeah. And unless he was trying to hide his whereabouts, right? I would expect to see a ping on one of these towers, just showing that his phone is active and working and it's on, right?
Absolutely.
Same thing with Liberty. Same thing with Kelsey. Yeah. Same thing with if Abby had one. Same thing with Derek. Same thing. all these people that claim to be at this park on this day, okay, their phone records at some point in time should put them there.
So why does the state want to stop geofencing?
Well,
anyways, yes, moving on, off topic. Just
well,
percolate about that
that's
for a
interesting.
minute. But I mean, it is, because there are certain things when you've covered this case for so long and you know things, there are certain things that come up and you hear it and you just go, are we in pursuit of justice here? Are we in pursuit of justice?
Or no, are we in pursuit of the truth?
Absolutely.
Well, because the truth, that's how the only way that you can get justice is if you get the truth.
100%. So are we in pursuit
So-
of this, or are we in pursuit of being right and getting our way? And we saw it in the Kieran Reed, right? We saw it where we saw that the Commonwealth had access to those FBI experts, but they didn't use them. Here, geofencing is what I like to think of as like the new DNA of this era, right? Like it could
Well,
exonerate,
it may go away, but yeah.
but it could exonerate or it could implicate.
Well,
So
that's what it's
why
supposed to
not?
do. It's supposed to be a teeter. You know, if it can
Yes.
implicate you, how can it not exonerate you?
And listen when I tell you guys something. We know in Delphi, they're not so ass backwards there that they haven't looked into this. So it raises my hackles, right? That we have Nick McLeland saying, yeah, no, this isn't. What is Eli trying to say? It's junk science. I don't know. But okay, Elo, what do you think needs to be done to get to this truth here? What do you want to see?
Okay, it's like, so if I'm on the jury, right?
Yes.
If I'm on the jury and well, we're not just going to hear about what the girls did beginning at 1:31 p.m.
Sure.
Okay, that's just not going to happen.
Well, you would hope,
right?
but it's Delphi.
but if Nick wants to start there, he's going to start somewhere where he starts telling his story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in opening statements, what normally happens is they're going to tell you everything that you are going to expect to see and hear throughout this trial, and this is what we're going to bring your way. And then once we put all this together, that we're going to sit here and go over in the opening statements, you're going to have all the information that you need to bring back a verdict of guilty.
Sure. From the state's perspective, absolutely.
Yes. And what I took from his little juror questionnaires and his little statements,
I want to hear this. Please. Why don't I hear this? Come on, Ellen.
So when I took all of that, all right, and his big thing was to see how far he could stretch people.
What do you mean by that? What does that mean?
Like, okay, think about this. His little snowman exercise.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm serious. Why would you ask that? Because you want to see how, because then the follow-up questions were, when were you a believer? When did you put all of this together? Because it's all of that is circumstantial.
100%. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. And the thing that was lacking about that stupid fucking snowman story,
love it, come on,
is we have no idea if the snowman melted, okay, or if somebody destroyed it.
Beautifully said.
Okay. Did it melt over 7 days? How long was my trip? Was it destroyed within 1 day because somebody came over and fucking blasted it and kicked it all over? And, maybe somebody changed out the noses with the carrots. I mean,
but wait a minute. Was the exercise to say, was this a snowman? Was that the exercise?
No, the exercise was to say, if you came back, if you left it snowed, before you left it snowed, when you came back and you just happen to see a puddle and 2 sticks.
No carrot?
No carrot at first.
Okay.
Okay. This is what I would think. I would say, take those sticks and shove up your fucking ass.
Stop it.
Okay. That's what I would think. I would think, what are you doing? Okay. Because, and then you want to say, well, then it's like, okay. Well, now there's a carrot.
Okay.
Okay. And then now what do you think happened? Well, if I went to spring break, who's on my property building a snowman, motherfucker?
Why is it snowing in spring unless
that's the other part. Well, it's like,
okay.
Well, And then he's like, okay, well, then he goes on and says, I would never be able to say like that somebody made a snowman. Like, you have what do you think happened? Well, I don't, he wants you to get to that point that you say, no, it's Frosty. Then he kind of changes it and he's just like,
Stop it.
well, that's Frosty there. That's Frosty.
Wow. Did he say
that? Yes. He's like,
oh my gosh.
And then there's a scarf there and there's a top hat there. And now there's just a big sign that says Frosty. When
Stop
did you
it.
realize that it was Frosty? And I'm like, wait. So basically what he's trying to do with this is to see like if he can get these jurors like to go from having chicken shit and turning it into chicken noodle soup.
Oh my God. Okay, I get what you're saying about stretching then. So that's what you meant. Love it.
Yes. And I
Okay,
knew
now
exactly what he was trying to do with it.
Right when he started?
Because he was trying to see where you're going to be at before you're going to say how much you need before you will say that that's Frosty.
I love
Because
it.
if you're a person that's going to say, I'm not saying that's Frosty until, yeah, put me a sign up. Well, I guess that was Frosty at one point, I guess. I mean, you know, but I'm not saying it's Frosty until I would see a sign that says Frosty. You want to know why? Because I would be like, it was just a snowman. There's totally two different things, a snowman, Frosty. But then the question is who built the fucking snowman? Why is there
reasonable doubt?
Yeah, what is what is this even? He's comparing this exercise to murder. Okay. And I just think that I would have used a totally different scenario there.
You should. Because you guys, what you don't know about, if you don't know, if you haven't watched Voir dire ever happen, all attorneys use these kind of metaphorical things, right? So they'll do a story to prove a point, okay? And it's interesting, but you're right. This is a bizarre, very bizarre way to go about getting to, you don't have much, you have less than circumstantial. Can we get you over to say that, yes, this is murder? That's really good. What would you use? Do you know? Have you thought about it? Metaphorically. Am I putting you on the spot?
No, I think for like this case, if I'm Nick, I have I think everybody should know right now, by them saying that they don't want to use the sketches, y'all, that tells me that his own witnesses for those sketches, okay, when they would have been asked, is that Richard Allen? This is how they would have been asked. Yeah. Is the guy that you saw the day of the murder on the bridge, is he in this courtroom right now? With 100% certainty, do you see him in this courtroom right now? And I think every single person that would take that stand that was at that bridge would say no.
If they were honest.
Yeah. Well, then no. Then you do this. Then if they say yes, it's that man right there. You know. Okay. Let's say they say that, and then it's like, okay, so you sat down with a sketch artist, right?
No, I'm not the one that sat down with the sketch artist. That was someone else you put in the PCA and you lied about.
Well, let's just say that there's a couple people that are, okay?
Sure.
Okay. And so you said, how tall was that man? You know, there's things that they said.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And there's things that they said based on your own height. So can you stand up for the jury? How tall are you?
Oh, I'm 5'2". Said that. Imagine.
No, but the other person was what, 5'8"?
Maybe.
The other girl was 5'8", and she said that the guy was taller than her. Well, Richard Allen's 5'4".
Yes, he is.
Okay. And so I would pull a little OJ on that ass. Stand up, Richard Allen. Okay.
But it is interesting. Maybe people don't know about that. So what happened? So Nick said, we need to keep these sketches out. These sketches, you guys. So anyone who follows true crime, let me explain. This is a case, I'll just say my opinion only, and I think a lot of other people who follow true crime could attest to this. It was so bizarre what they kept to there are things you keep it, hidden and you don't come out with when you're law enforcement. But what they did with this case was so bizarre. But these two sketches just beat. I mean, I, in my brain, cannot think of one thing. I sound like someone with the initials JD. I, in my brain, cannot think of one thing that makes me think that makes any sense to me. And then when they came out with the second sketch and it was a younger guy, they said, you know what, just disregard.
Well, that's it. So they're gonna. So like everybody thinks that this sketch is gonna be out, right? These two sketches are gonna be out, right? They're just because something is out in the beginning. If you open the door to something, I'm telling you, there's a way in. So if the question is posed to like, okay, they want these sketches out. Awesome. I just need to ask this. Did you sit down with a sketch artist? Sure did. Did they use you can ask every question about it. The jury's just never going to see the sketch. But we can still ask all these questions about the sketch, about that person going and seeing a sketch artist. Okay? Did the police did they put it out there?
Did they use it in the media?
They use it. Did they put it out there? Yep. And when you saw who they arrested, did you think it looked like your sketch? No, it didn't. Right now, you saw like a 16-year-old boy, right? I mean, when you have it, like again, think about this. We don't have to use the sketch, but can we ask questions just to say, did you sit down with a sketch artist? Objection. Let's approach. Well, okay, what do we want to approach about? Well, you can't ask her about the sketch. Fuck, I can't. They're just not. We're keeping the sketches out. I can't. I'm allowed to ask about this investigation, and I would ask these freaking detectives. Did you ask any of the people that day to sit down with sketch artists? Yes. Why?
Right.
Why did you do that? Well, because it's an investigative technique. It's a tool.
It is a tool.
Okay,
I've never heard of them wanting to keep, and the years they use these sketches, you guys, and that's all we were basically given. They kept so much of this case close to the vest. It was so bizarre from the beginning. But when you start deep diving this case, I mean, talk about, we can't even open that can of worms yet because it'll just take us somewhere else, so I won't start. But this is a bizarre case.
Well, then
pay attention.
Then you ask this. All you have to do is say this to Doug Carter. Doug Carter.
Wait, is Doug on the stand?
Doug's being, he's on the defense.
No, I'm wondering if that's who you're talking to right now. Are you talking to Doug?
Okay, Doug Carter's on the stand right now.
Superintendent Doug Carter. Okay.
Yeah. You are under the impression that Richard Allen is Bridge Guy, right?
Yes.
Okay. But you're also under the impression that Richard Allen are the sketches, correct?
Well, I don't know how to answer that because Doug Carter said he didn't act alone. This is complex.
Yes.
He didn't act alone.
It's wild. It's asinine. So the question is to say, for these little witnesses that saw somebody, the person that you had drawing a sketch of, you didn't see them on the Monon High Bridge though, right? You saw them where? You didn't see did you see anybody be abducted? Did they ask you to sketch anybody else? You only saw one person? Did they ask you to sketch the girls that you saw?
Okay, are we going with the narrative that we know?
I'm just trying to say, there was only 4 people out there that day? There's way more than 4 people out there that day.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the thing though, Ello. There's a lot of things that were said that aren't factually true that are going to come out, that are written, bloody, saw somebody muddy and bloody.
Yeah.
That didn't get said. So now when we are in the trial and they use this, a witness saw somebody come out of basically the woods who was muddy and bloody. What are they going to do with that? Because that witness didn't say that. Right? So what's our next thing? Because we got to keep to the schedule because you're dropping ball.
Well, the next thing is that they're going to have to prove that Bridge Guy to be Richard Allen, right? Because he said, Nick said there's 3 things that you need to worry about, which is Bridge Guy, bullet, and 2 murders. Okay.
What are they going to do about these confessions that they think are so important?
Well, first of all, if I'm on the jury, and even if I have no brain cells, I'm sorry, but guys, how could somebody confess to 60 different ways to kill somebody and we're supposed to believe, like, which one are we supposed to believe?
Elo, don't be so naive, though.
That's
Please
not being naive. I'm
understand.
asking a
No,
question.
no,
If
listen,
if
here's
I
the thing.
killed somebody, I don't need to. I know how I killed them.
No, 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 but listen, that's not true at all because here's what
Oh,
our normal people in our jury listen, it's just a thing. Juries, humans, just like they said, if, when he was asked a question, what would you think if my client didn't take the stand? Okay, well, no, I would be screaming from the rooftops I didn't do it.
mhm.
Juries think, or most humans think, confessions are very worthy.
They've already talked about it though during the jury selection part, so that's why I feel confident
What did
saying
they
how
say?
I'm
Tell
saying it.
me, because you
They
were
said
there.
that, yeah, they said that Richard Allen confessed to shooting the girls in the back of the head and raping them, and they weren't raped and they weren't shot in the back of the head. So can you ask yourselves why you would ever say something that's not true? And people had to answer that. Like, why would you ever confess to something or say something and
Were
just
they
to do
asked
what?
that?
Yeah, and he asked
And
people
what
and
they
they had to
say?
answer that. And they answered. There was tons of questions. There was tons of answers like
Anything
you could
good?
you could be protecting somebody. You could,
Mm.
mental health. Mental health was a popular one.
Mm,
Um uh
that's a good one.
yeah, Baldwin was really good about like you have to understand the context around this whole thing, which is 4 months solitary confinement, you know?
Love it.
And
Humanizing him.
oh, they humanized the fuck out of him.
How
They
did
did.
he look? How did he look when you went to see him as opposed to when we saw him March 18th?
He
I
looked
mean,
good. I mean, he's skinny. I mean, that was the first time that he was in, street clothes. He was in like suit or button up, slacks, no tie, but it suits him well. Like I don't think he needs to be in a tie.
when we saw him March
He looks
18th,
super. He looks so small. He looks tiny.
tiny
Okay,
or so he
tiny.
lost some weight from
Like,
what?
well, I just mean he looked tiny back then too. But he was in like that garb. Like this is like form fitting clothes, and
Yes,
he's just he's just small dude.
I love it. I love it that they're actually letting him
Small.
finally wear. I mean, look at this is how you do it in America, right? Innocent until proven guilty. He can't be shackled in some basic almost turtle suit. But okay, remember how he
Okay,
was
ready for my
acting?
bomb?
Can I just say one thing? Remember how he's acting on the 18th and he was like looking up at the ceiling and
Yeah, he
he
wasn't doing
wasn't
that shit.
engaged. So you think that he's a little bit better mentally?
Yeah, they were always huddling up around him. He was definitely he was definitely part of who he's picking for his jurors. That was awesome.
I
Every time,
love
like it
that.
was at the end of a round, like they all huddled around him and did all of like their talking and breaking it all down, like with him.
So he's involved. I
Oh,
love
he was
that for
involved.
him.
Let me just tell you
Okay.
that he looked involved, and that's enough.
Yes, I agree with that.
All right.
I agree with that. That's a really big progress from March. Okay,
Yeah.
Bomb, go ahead.
Okay, so I told you guys that I didn't think Kelsey, like, this timeline's way off, right?
Hmm.
And when we got the news about, okay, there's this hair, it like the hair doesn't belong to Richard Allen. Okay, well, I thought that they were drug, unclothed, some type of a struggle, you know what I mean? Like, hello, like, how are you clinging on to a piece of hair, all right? If that wouldn't be part of the act, unless it would be planted. Those are your only two things. Because it's kind of like the Karen Reed case that you just don't have pieces of glass going 60 miles an hour on a highway on the top of a tow truck, and that these pieces just happen to still be on top of the bumper when it arrives in the Sally port, right? Like,
Sure.
how does a vehicle make it through all of that shit? And oh wait, right there, just a couple of speckles of the glass is right on top of a bumper.
Okay.
That's impossible, right?
Well, the bumper part, but go ahead about the hair. Let's go
Well,
into
no, well, the bumper part's impossible unless you put it after it.
100%.
Okay, just like the hair, you could plant the hair.
You could 100%.
Okay,
I have a better question
or
after
the
you.
hair could be significant.
It's incredibly significant.
So my question then is, when the jury finds out that this hair, it is not a piece of animal hair, let's say, and they find out that it belongs to be a female or a male, right?
Yeah, because it's not animal, it's human.
Is this going to fuck up their timeline and who these girls were truly with
100%.
prior
Even
to the murders?
even if it's planted, it's
It had to come
going.
from somewhere.
Listen,
It
the
belongs to
reason why
somebody.
Baldwin said what he did in court about it, and only said what he did because there's more, and it's all coming out. And when he said that, there's a reason, because it is a big deal, you guys. It doesn't matter if it's planted or it isn't. It still leads to what? Probable,
Like, leads to reasonable doubt.
reasonable doubt that there's a reason.
But does
And
it?
let me.
But no. But does it change the timeline? This is way.
Okay,
This is for me. It changes the timeline.
Okay, we did not discuss this, but
because there's supposed to be nobody else out there, right?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, yes, one. Okay, but we already
at that time there's supposed to be nobody else out there. It's just those two, and this was just like the smallest window possible. Okay,
listen,
because it'll all change if your window goes like this of when these girls were out and about and
100%
not being supervised. Who were they with? Where were they really truly at before?
100%. And listen to me. One other thing, and that's the timeline you're talking about, absolutely changes it. And then what else does it do? It wasn't done by a single man. Unless you're going to say he planted that hair, and then you're going to have to say why and explain
who's the hair. Yeah, how did they get this piece of hair?
Wow. And what you guys have heard out there,
I want to talk about the picture that was taken for a split second that showed up at the high school. Okay, I want to talk about that. I did some research on this. Okay. So it says that picture was taken at the high school, and now there was a basketball game though, right?
Yes, there was.
So the girls would actually have a reason to, and other people like Kelsey or their friends, they would have a reason to be at that high school, right?
100%, because there were people who were at the high school. Okay, so kids that were out that day for their leftover snow day.
Who was remember when Mike Patty said that he went to the basketball court, like he went to the high school because some of the kids thought that they saw them. Remember that?
Maybe.
They didn't know if it was a rumor though.
About this case than I know.
And so Mike, Patty, and them, they go to the basketball. Like they go over to the high school, to the basketball area, the gymnasium. Okay. So, and for me, that wouldn't come for like way a little bit longer if I knew that the girls truly were dropped off at that certain time point. I've always thought that the picking up is such a small window. They barely were there. Like, that's really weird. There couldn't be anybody that would get them a little bit later, or was that like enough time because they're so young? Whatever, right? But then we get this little speck of like chicken nugget, Easter egg, whatever you want to call it. Okay, we get a little nugget when we find out that how in the world is that picture pinging for a split little time over at the high school? And then there was actually a game over there. Yeah. And then I want to know who was on those teams, who was in that gym, what girls were there, what boys were there.
Well, a lot of kids were there. You know that, right? Or you might not know. There's a lot of kids that were also friends with Abby and Libby that were at the gymnasium watching, the basketball game or participating in it. And in my opinion only, I think that they might have gone there before they actually went to the bridge. Not stayed there, but maybe met up with a couple people. My opinion.
Yeah. And so think about that then. Then that totally changes the whole timeline, and it totally changes what those girls in fact did that day. And it totally changes everything, because then you need to go talk about the night before. Wasn't there a slumber party? Or is that on Friday night? You need to talk about everything that happened that weekend.
Sure, absolutely.
This was not just your average weekend.
You
right?
cannot start at 1:15 p.m.
The hair does not match, if you guys know, the hair does not match Richard Allen or either of the girls. Okay. And we're talking, I think it's gonna come out and it's gonna be significant as far as this isn't just some like speck of hair. Like
That's right.
this is gonna be this is gonna come down to, do you guys think it's a rooted hair? Because I'm putting money on that it's a rooted hair.
Why do you guys think that it would be brought up by Andy Baldwin if it wasn't something of significance? So listen, you guys.
Why do you think he wanted to say that yesterday? He needed to get a really big feel for saying that. He needed to get what out of people? He needed to see who that truly would hit. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. Wait a second. There's a hair at the scene of the crime that's in one of the victim's hands after supposedly
around.
Yeah, well, yes. And supposedly a staged crime scene. Supposedly they went through all this water. Supposedly, gunpoint, blah, blah, all these things.
One person did it, you guys, right?
One person did it. One person then reached to one person, but cleaned the other one. The other one was all of these things. And then, boom, just a hair. Not just some like random hair, but a hair that's like purposely like this is going to be found. And it doesn't belong to Richard Allen. What if it doesn't belong to a motherfucking guy? Do you want to know who the number one people are to lure people to be safe? What did Epstein, what did he need? He needed a female. Yeah. What did P. Diddy need? He needed females to do his shit as well. Look at all of his aid. That Christina woman's a fucking piece of shit. Bitch, if I fucking saw her. I'm just talking about like how significant would this hair be? And you're telling me that Richard Allen's DNA is nowhere anywhere on that. And he used a knife, and I mean it's very like his DNA is nowhere to be found, but somebody else's DNA is there. But
and
does it matter?
There's a reason they brought it up. These attorneys, no matter what anyone says out there, they're not going to put their law licenses on the line and lie and break their oath to be officers of the court. They're just not going to do it. Okay. They're really, in my opinion, incredibly accomplished. They have a lot of integrity. Okay. And everyone would be lucky to have them as public defenders.
Right. So going back to this whole timeline thing, I always said, why would you be in such a panic so quickly? But it really wouldn't be so quickly if, like, how do we know that Kelsey, she says that she dropped the girls off when she went because the vehicle showed that she went to the park. Okay. Well, I said to myself, how long was the vehicle there? Okay. And why isn't it that possibly she went to the park, or this vehicle that is supposedly on camera? How do we know that 3 people, meaning her and the 2 girls, were actually in that vehicle if we don't see them? Just throwing that out there. And then number 2 would be, could it have been that Kelsey actually went there to look for them? And that's why, this whole timeline matters. But just because the vehicle went there, it's just being said that, oh, she went there because she dropped them off. No, that's what you're saying. But nobody saw that. Mm-hmm. We just see a car that goes there. And then I said, how long does the car stay there? And then the car leaves, right? Mm-hmm. Is that on camera, or does it go the other way? But then Derek comes and he's just, then everybody starts blowing everybody up. blowing everybody up so quickly. And in my opinion, that it would be, you know, it's rather quick to be like, oh my God, the girls are missing. If it was like, why would you think the girls were missing? This is a little town, Delphi. Like, these girls aren't missing. They probably went off with who? Like, wouldn't you exhaust some efforts into calling a bunch of people and making sure? So I can't wait. The thing I want to hear is I want to know when Anna Williams was called.
Interesting.
I want
Well,
to
we might
because
know
because
that.
you better be if my kid was with somebody else,
Yes.
okay, and you can't, like, I'm the first person that should be getting a phone call to be saying, hey, did you by chance pick up the girls? Because
Well,
we were,
remember when we went back in and we listened, like when Richard Allen was arrested, we went and we listened to that interview Anna did. And I said, listen to this. It's incredibly important to re-listen to this. You know what I'm talking about, right? The one she did. I don't want to name it, but it was a really good interview she did with that guy, Jason. And it was kind of eye-opening.
Oh, yeah, we watched that one. Yeah.
And I think that there is a lot of things in there. I mean, I'll reserve my comments, but I think you're right about looking at that. Now, take into consideration what we have in this day and age, right? We talked about geofencing a little bit earlier. What we have in this day and age to put people somewhere and to put them not somewhere. So sometimes it's about what you don't say. There are going to be
my next
bombs.
question. This is going to be my next question, which is this: who truly uploaded the picture of Abby on the bridge, or of Abby on the bridge?
Well, listen, I mean, there's going to be metadata behind that. Don't worry about that.
But is it a screenshot metadata?
There's been rumors, and
is
it'll
it a pic
say
and a pic? Because there is a way that you can actually upload a video, like upload a picture that's not the one that you actually took in that time, but that's just when you uploaded it.
Absolutely.
And it's two different things.
You covered
I
that
covered
2
the
years
shit
ago.
out of that. I know.
But
And I was like,
listen,
I don't buy that.
But Meta,
Especially if the clothes weren't the same.
You mean clothes weren't the same when she was found?
Yeah, like 100%.
Let me tell you though, the metadata behind every photo you take has a link, and it'll tell on everything that happens.
Well, unless something was destroyed, but yeah.
Then you can tell that too, because they'll
Yeah, I think it's going to be there. I think there's tons of bombs coming out, and it's not coming out from the prosecution. I don't think the prosecution has bombs.
They don't, because they've already exhausted all their bombs.
I think that they needed everything they mustered up to get what they got.
It's a very flawed PCA. Now the bombs that are going to be coming for the defense, and they need to, you guys, because this is jurisprudence. They always say that court is where the truth comes out. And it is a chess game, and there are games that are played, and it's not just common knowledge and common sense that goes on in there. There are some things that don't make sense to a lot of people who aren't in that, system. But jeez, man, like, get it together. Get it together, Nikki. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that I think it might be a blessing in disguise if they can't use the third party culpability, because
we were talking about that. We were going to talk about that.
These people already know. Like, if Richard Allen didn't commit it, it's like, okay, hey guys, clearly Richard Allen didn't commit it. But our theory is, and then you're going to have to say this in opening statements if you're going to go that route, which is this. I would just leave it this. This crime was committed by more than one person. Okay. This crime was committed by more than one person. And of those more than one people, this man is not one of them.
He's 5'4", you guys.
Okay. They said that this happened by one person. One person.
They're saying it in the state, but they've always said.
Who cares? They're not going to bring. They're not bringing that into the courtroom.
But it just makes no sense.
No, but you can't say that, and like they're not going to say, like, to the jury in opening statements, this is their guy, this is who did everything, and he was able to control them. Okay, because he used the words that he got interrupted. Okay, and those are very interesting words that were used. That Richard Allen got interrupted, and I'm like, what part did he get interrupted? Because once he would have got them across the river and over there, I mean, interrupted how? But I know, but they're going to have to sit. They're going to have to come out. But Nick
That's
said
fine.
Richard Allen was interrupted. All right. And that's what led to a kidnapping going to a murder. And that's how I took it. Right. He's going to have to explain himself. But my brain went to the fact that did you think Richard Allen was supposed to kidnap these people, these two
Your
girls,
brain,
for
listen,
somebody else?
did your brain not go to when they filed those kidnapping charges?
I'm over here thinking that these jurors are not following what you're laying down right now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, like he was interrupted.
Interesting.
So like interrupted by who? Interrupted what? Like what did he do because he was interrupted? Because he already had them.
Well, in my opinion, Nikki added those charges about kidnapping late in the game because he didn't think that he might be
Exactly,
able to
Emily.
prosecute.
Exactly, Emily. The state, the crime scene does not show somebody being interrupted at any point in time.
Okay, can I finish my thought before we get onto that? So the whole reason that I believe that Nikki did that with, saying that there's a kidnapping charge is because they can't prove murder. He thinks he might not be able to prove murder, so he wanted to have that on the back burner. And yes, as to Emily's, if anyone has seen or heard, even from the Frank statement, this is, in my opinion, a very deliberate scene. I know because I studied serial killers. That's how I got a job writing true crime. And it's an insanely deliberate scene. And you either have disorganized or organized killer. This is a very, in my opinion, organized killer. Insanely organized killer. Everything has meaning in that scene.
Yeah. For me, phones pinging at different times, phones, then a bunch of incoming calls coming in all one after the other, after the other, after the other. They're going to know what time that those people actually called and texted. The phone then just that loaded up at about, I think, 10 p.m. And that's clear as day from the Chris Watts case. So like whatever time people made phone calls and text messages to that phone, on the phone that was the director of the text messaging to Libby's phone, they're going to have a timestamp on when they sent that.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so all of the numbers that come up and they were, basically queued up, you're going to take all of those. There may be a timestamp on Libby's phone that shows basically if the phone was just turned on, it just shows that everything came in at like, I don't know, 10:01, 10:02, 10, whatever it may be. But on the phones of the people that actually sent them out, there's going to be a different time based on when they sent that, which those are the timestamps that are super, super important.
Beautifully said.
And I think that I think that they have those.
I think they did too.
So, and it's going to tell you a lot about when something was turned off, when something was out of an area, and then when something was turned back on. And if you want to talk about circumstantial, how it looks to me is that it was turned off, and that's why everything got queued up, and then it was turned back on, and that's why everything then spewed out on Libby's phone. Like all coming in at that time.
I think there'll be a bomb associated with that, in my opinion only.
Well, yeah, I mean, who turned it back on? And were those girls truly and were those girls truly at that like what was going on, you guys? What the fuck was going on? All right. And I'm sorry, but this time, this window, crimes to me are crimes of opportunity. Crimes are, it's motive means opportunity. Like you don't have to prove motive. The state does not have to do that. But those jurors want to hear at least something. Okay. Because this is in the middle of the day. This isn't someone going into a school shooting and that they know like, hey, they're just trying to kill as many people. And they, this seemed like somebody that did this that wasn't trying to get caught, right?
Almost, right? If they think that Richard Allen did it, he almost didn't get caught. And if you think that Richard Allen is innocent or you don't know, then there might be a killer or killers out there, right?
Suthi, I think that the knowledge C database info will be a bomb. It'll be interesting. And so for me, all these jurors, does it matter if they does the length of the investigation matter and what truly? So Does that matter what everybody was doing over the course of all this time before they arrested Richard Allen? Like, so they're gonna say that there was a, like, they're gonna have to explain that because they want to make it seem like that he's the one, right? Richard Allen's confessions. Richard Allen says that he was there. Bridge guy. That's Richard Allen. The narrative, this outline, everything that you heard in the PCA, and then here you come, this bullet.
The bullet. You guys, everything that the state has that they're relying on are things that the defense can absolutely rip apart, right? Is that true?
Everything that the state's relying on is planted, in my opinion, and I have no problem saying it now, because everything is after the fact. There is nothing that they are taking from when they're going to tell their story. Nothing is something that is taken just like it's all after the fact, after the fact, after the fact, after the fact, after the fact. Like, even this fucking bullet. When did that bullet get found?
How did it? You guys, it was buried February ground in Indiana. Okay. This bullet was ejected, not out of, not where you fire it and there's tool markings, because it was ejected, either by accident out of the top. Okay. And we're told, I got reamed for that by my beautiful friend who is very knowledgeable. And he told me, "You are wrong, Bella. There's a way that they could do that with tool markings." And I said, "Oh, shoot." But listen, this thing was buried. Where are the photos of them retrieving it?
That's like saying, think about the Brian Kohlberger case. Think about that. Think about if the Brian Kohlberger case, this little sheathy poo. What if the sheath isn't in any of the body cams and it's in none of the first round of pictures until the scene was processed the second or third day? How would you feel?
That would be a problem, wouldn't it?
Well, no, not if it was under the leg and we didn't move the body. I mean, I'm just trying to say, like, if the sheath wasn't in any of these pictures, just like the bullet isn't in any of these pictures. Like, wait, what the fuck?
But listen, so there's going to be a battle of the experts. How are you going to prove that this bullet came from a gun? So it's a 40 caliber. What expert is going to get, and experts do shit all the time, but is going to get on that stand and say, yes, these tool markings match Richard Allen's gun?
My next bomb. Ready? It says nothing to do with Bella. Ready? It says it's all me. Everybody's been wondering why the family did not attend the juror selection of the jurors. Well, I'm going to give you my opinion on that. Ready? All of these jurors were asked if they knew any of the witnesses in this case, of which Nick read off names like this. And so, and I'm just like, holy shit, I'm trying to like, and then, Rosie goes, he's reading his stuff off, and the defense is like, I don't know what people they said, so I'm just gonna read all of our names here, okay? And again, I'm trying to like write as many as I can. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, well, who the hell can just look at a piece of paper and you see a name and you're like, I don't know who that is. But then you see a face and you're like, oh, I know that person. I know that person. I know that person. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Oh, that person. I know that person too. But I don't know them by name. I know them by like, oh my God. Yeah. You know how many neighbors I know? But I fucking don't know their names. Okay. I can put them out of a lineup every day. But I'm like, dude, I don't know their names. Mm-hmm. Right? Well, take it to the bank, y'all. They've attended everything. If they don't come to jury selection, I'm going to tell you why I believe they didn't come to jury selection.
Lay it on us.
Because they didn't want to be recognized by people that possibly actually know them.
That's smart,
because that would be a reason that they would make the fucking jury. All right. So take that to the bank, put it up on your fucking pipe, and smoke that shit. All right.
Wait, are we taking it to the bank or are we smoking it?
That's the only reason they didn't go to jury selection. In my humble as fuck opinion, because why wouldn't you if you've been to every other hearing? Mm-hmm. This is jury selection. This is the
Great
biggest,
point.
if well, my opinion, it's the biggest fucking deal because they're the ones that are saying guilt or innocence here. All right. And so, because the only people that went were Libby or Abby's grandparents, her grandfather. So take that to the bank. Is that if these like, oh, I recognize, and then because then when you hear, because I'm sure they got these packets that they're supposed to look at. Do you know any of these witnesses? Did you know any of this? So they're reading these names and like, but then they see the people, and it's like, oh God, yeah, oh my God, my
I
husband
know
works with
that
that man.
person.
My husband works with that person.
And CVS.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, but when you're actually working this case, you guys, and you're deep diving, literally, my mind is like,
100.
you know everybody.
Yeah,
Everybody knows everybody. Like everyone is linked. It's very interesting in that way.
yeah. So I think that's. I mean, there's no other. To me, there's no other logical reason that you wouldn't attend.
It's true. It's a good
You want to
idea. It's a good
hear
thing.
what is being asked of these people, and also, wouldn't you want to just make sure there wasn't any funny business going on?
Funny business. I don't know if I heard that for a minute.
Funny business, yeah. So, but
Yeah.
so yeah, tomorrow's opening statements, and what else do you think that you're going to be hearing in opening statements, or that you would want to hear?
I think there's
Like
going to be.
how does the prosecution like?
Oh,
even
screw Nikki. I'm not helping Nikki with anything.
this
But
is
what
this is what Nikki's going to do right there.
Oh, you got it? I thought you
Look
were
at the
going to actually
screen.
write it.
Look at the screen. This is Nikki's. Here you go.
That's Nikki's. No,
He's
Nikki's
gonna be
just
like
going
this.
to
You know what?
charm.
I had something prepared.
Nikki's going to be like, look over there. There's a melted snowman. No, but I think
What do you
that
guys think out there?
we're going to
I
have a
want to
lot of
highlight. What do you
bombs.
guys think? If you're sitting on the jury, what do you think that you're going to hear during opening statement?
What do you want to hear? I think is what.
Yeah. What do you
What
want
do you want to hear? I can't wait though. The defense.
We don't have any fingerprints. We have no DNA. We have no murder weapon. Shit. We don't have an eyewitness. We don't have it on camera.
No, Nikki's not. Nikki's going to say, we have a bullet. We have an expert that can put this bullet inside Richard Allen's house. We have him confessing 60 times, 60 different ways because he did it in his mind 60
after the
different
arrest.
ways. What?
Yeah, no, but after like he didn't confess like before he was arrested. After
I'm just
yeah, but
no,
at
but
100%, he's going to say all that.
I'm
absolutely.
saying what Nikki's going to say because listen. Didn't you ever take debate class? You always have to go with the side you don't agree with and debate it. You know, you got to debate the side you don't agree
I was
with.
too busy hitting threes. 3-pointers. Nope, wasn't doing debate class. Didn't do any classes. I hate classes.
Let's hear him. No classes.
Fuck classes, man.
F classes.
No.
You guys really want to know about the hair because it got dropped. Now wait until this whole month is going to be going on. Imagine what other bombs you guys are going to hear, and it's going to be a lot.
I think Kelsey's taking the stand tomorrow. I know that it's going to be Kelsey, Derek, and there's somebody that goes. I think there's somebody going before Kelsey. My list has it as. Is there a Jones out there? But it was like he said a name, and I was like, because I was ready like to write Kelsey or like, and I was just like, and it was Kelsey, Derek, Mike, Patty.
Where did Becky fall at that time? After Mikey? Oh my God, you're getting it?
I don't know. I'm not gonna get it. Oh, I'm sure. Surely not Randy Jones. Who the fuck's Randy Jones? Tell me who Randy Jones is.
No idea.
Sleuthy, who's Randy Jones?
Sleuthy will say.
Did you have a chance to look into that lead I emailed you about? Which or they get to see the whole clip of the 43 seconds of with the bridge guy.
It's only 43 seconds.
The CO with the Odin spear face tat.
Would they really put the CO before the family?
I'm telling you, it was a Jones. I'm telling you, it was a damn my Jones. Hold on, I got it here somewhere, man.
And you guys, if this has anything, and so I think this is what we were talking about a little bit earlier, and I thought I was the only one to say I thought it was a good thing in a way that they were going to limit the third party culpability defense and talking about Odinism, because Gull is being really strict about time. And when you start getting into that, we saw what happened with Karen Reed. It starts convoluting the jurors to be like, oh my God, what's happening? So I thought it was good to limit that. But there's a loophole.
I mean, you could put a couple of things out there. Oh, wait, here. Yeah. Okay, hold on.
No, I get it. But so then what I think is interesting is that since it's on and it's with offer
Patty,
of proof,
okay. Patty, KG, Derek. Yeah, I'm telling you, there was somebody right before that. Then it was Brown, Page, Edwards, Sean.
Oh, wait. What Brown? Who Brown? First name?
He said Liggett twice. At Brown last name.
Okay,
so I think it was
insanely interesting.
It was, yeah. So Patty.
Does KG, anyone know what DG, Brown that is? That
Cecil, Rob, Clancy, Blair, Voorhees, Liggett, Clement, Mullins.
Do we know for sure it's Pat Brown, you guys? Are we guessing that it's Pat Brown?
Darren Brown. Who's Darren Brown? Yeah, Darren Brown.
Are you sure?
Too. Who's Darren Brown?
Whoa. Don't guess. Are you sure it's
Darren? Tell me what they do. It's not Pat. Who's Pat Brown?
People are saying it's either Pat, and Sleuthy says it's Darren. Don't guess, because if it's Darren,
it's somebody in the beginning. So it's got to be somebody that's like a first responder. It's got to be a cop. Again, for all we know, if he's doing it based, I didn't think that he did it based on alphabetical order. So I would think he's going in the order that he's going to be going.
It's not alphabetical. Yes, I think you're right. It's not alphabetical order. Yeah, it'll be interesting to know what Brown.
I know that the defense witness list, they're coming out swinging. Holder, Carter, Holman, Vito, maybe something like that. I don't know. Maybe it was. Dude, you don't understand. He was. I was just like click. Murphy, Page, Robinson, Blair, Jones, Liebert, Patrick Westfall, Tony Klein, Keegan Klein, A. Williams. I don't know if Anna Williams was mentioned on the prosecution side.
Interesting. Wouldn't that be interesting? And why would she? Because she's not there. Nikki doesn't need her. You guys, we've been waiting for this.
All the 21 people that were listed in that lemonade, they're in. On the
lemonade.
Lemonade. Yeah, I call it lemonade.
Emotion and lemonade. It'd be really interesting.
I'm telling you, there was a name. Outside. Yeah, there was a name.
Done outside. Can I say offer of proof is done outside the presence of the jury? So it's just going to be interesting, and how that's going to work.
Chadwell, I think, is on here.
Is he really?
Dude, there was 100 people that was on the defense side.
No more than that.
Well, I'm saying there was at least. I mean,
that you were writing? Yeah. Didn't they say it was like 100? It was more than 150. I think it was 180, but don't quote me on that. It's definitely more than 150.
I thought it was like 120 something, 123.
Oh, maybe. Because you were there. I wasn't. So by the time I go there, and I'm not saying when, because I don't.
And had I known, well, I was trying to get like, hey, let's put a list of all the people on the, like, that way I could just like check them off or highlight them. Because it's a hell of a lot easier than like, once I hear a name, like boom, boom, boom. Versus having to write them. I think Angela guessed like 138. Okay. Yeah, the defense. Yeah. And what they did is that they included everybody that, it's like, it was like how Alan did his in the Karen Reed case. Here's our list. We're not just putting our list. We're including whoever they even have on theirs. It's just,
yes,
even if they don't call them, like, this is our list.
Absolutely. Okay? Smart.
And that's how he read it off. Rosie read it off that way.
But and they don't have to call everybody. You just give that in case you need people, right? So
I did not hear Turco.
Oh, interesting.
But I could be wrong. Like I swear I was like listening for certain names. Like after that point, I was like, fuck this. Let me listen to see what I can hear.
Click was mentioned.
100% Click and Murphy were back to back.
But on defense or both?
Yep, on defense.
Nice.
You know, yeah, so I'm thinking that Patty, the Patties are going to be in order tomorrow. It's going to
That'll be
be
nice. Family
um,
first. That'll be very interesting. So you
you know,
guys
and
all
some of these people
ready?
could be like rebuttal witnesses, you know. And it was all your it was just everybody in general. But what those lists were supposed to do, guys, these jurors were supposed to sit in here and you're supposed to tell us if you know Patrick Westphal was on here. Everybody, yeah, all the the Odin crew, yeah. Um the what's his name? Elvis Fields, all those people.
I
Messier,
would love to
John
see
Messier,
Elvis there.
you name them. They're
I
on
can't
here.
wait to see Elvis there on the stand.
But I think you're going to get the family tomorrow. And the only thing I thought maybe is if you're dealing with, you know, the possibility of one, um, maybe the person that took the 911 call, who took the 911 call from, what's his name? Mike Patty. That's the only person I could see possibly going, you know, because I'm telling you, there was a name before they started the family names. That's all.
Nice. Well, we'll see what it is tomorrow. It's almost here.
Yeah. So anything else you think?
I don't. I love that we're finally getting it
The
underway.
timeline. I don't believe that the timeline, and I think the phone.
You're
That
putting it in
was
writing.
yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
I'm almost done scanning all these in.
Good.
Oh yeah,
The bad boys.
those bad boys.
Okay, well, you have another bomb to drop.
Yes, I have a bomb to drop at 10 with
And
the Idaho 4 case.
And we will be talking about this as things get progressed. There's lots of things that are held, like, you know, that we can't say, obviously, for obvious reasons. This is an ongoing, hasn't been to the jury yet. So
He was on there. Yeah. Who's that? Is that the person that was called? I think whoever got the 911 call. Is that who got the 911 call?
ask chat.
Who got the 911 call? That's
No, look,
I
David
think
Clayton's in your chat.
I'm telling you, I think it's the 911 caller.
Just leave it.
Yes.
Leave it. And then we'll do it.
Elvis will be looking one of those dogs that just shakes their face.
Please.
And that's how you're ending this. Yay!
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, chat. Thank you,
Thank
mods.
you.
Thank you, Elo.
Thank you.
Bye.
Appreciate you. Peace. You guys rock, man. Thank you guys. Thumbs it up. Share it. Let me see. Mr. Lady. Oh, became a YouTube member. Hey, Lana, so good to hear your voice. And Bella's voice. Yep, all is well with you. Everything's great over here. That was so funny. How does the Odinism door knock? I think it's totally going to get opened. Randy Jones is an Indiana sergeant. I think that's who it is. It's a Jones. I swear it's like a Jones. It's a name that's Mike Jones. That's what my memory tells me. Thanks, Lana Bell. Take care in chat. Yep. I think this is all going to be opened up. But the question is can we not saturate this jury too much? Because they're just like, wait, what? Like, they just need to know that, like, dude, this guy didn't do it. They didn't prove that this guy did it. Let's just leave it there. And these two girls, I feel like the defense is trying to do things to help them get justice through truth. Two girls were murdered, man. It's all a bunch of lies. This is bullshit. So, cheers to the truth. Thank you guys again so much. Appreciate you. On your way out, thumbs it up. Take care. Over and out. Delphi.
Today is not a day to celebrate, but the arrest of Richard M. Allen of Delphi on 2 counts of murder